Hello everyone, welcome once again to a fresh episode of Big League Soccer the World Cup edition. My name is Sine Koiki. With me are my regular analysts, Kozim Elegbede, thank you for joining us.
It's a pleasure.
And Kai Dokundari, thank you for joining us as well.
Thanks for
Yep, your Super Eagles have, our Super Eagles have performed above expectations. After their first game against Iran, no one expected them to do as well as they did against a Bosnian side that everyone expected to give us a really stern test, but it turned out to be the other way around. We rode our luck a few times. We scored a good goal. They had a legitimate goal chalked off, but by and large, you could say possibly that the better team won, Cousin.
Yes, that's the story of this World Cup. It's been the story. All the matches won were won by the better side. I mean, a lot of teams could have some complaints. You talk about Mexico, the first game against Cameroon, 2 goals were erroneously chalked up. Croatia, that's the opening match of the World Cup itself. I mean, a lot of spurious calls by the Japanese referee. But in spite of that, you can't argue that the better team won. I mean, it was only 1 goal denied against against Bosnia. How come they couldn't score another one? And Nigeria scored a legitimate goal, which I wouldn't understand why they were quarreling with the referee. And again, I feel the referee also helped them because a couple of their players could have been recorded. Some of them were raining verbal abuses on
number 7 Besic.
Yeah, and cynical fouls. I mean, if you go by FIFA law, verbal abuse too is deemed to be a
bookable offense as well.
Yes, serious offense for that matter. So yes, Nigeria won, but for me personally,
my question, sorry, is how do you know it's verbal abuse? I mean, he's saying you don't understand his language, but
yes, but you could read from the face.
I could be smiling and saying something particularly insulting.
Yeah, but you could read from the face, and it wasn't once, it wasn't twice. You know, it stand out of the frustration of the fact that okay, they had a legitimate goal erroneously chalked off, but that wasn't Nigeria's fault. Okay, if you were going to vent any anger, vent it on the referee, not Nigeria. So, but we leave that. Looking at Nigeria as a whole, yes, it was a better performance against Bosnia compared to Iran, and it was expected. I think at that point, Eagles were condemned to raise their game. But even at that, they have not raised their game to the level which we all know they could.
Okay, Kayode, you saw that game as well. Let's just get your own quick impressions.
Quickly, let me say this before I proceed that actions are judged by intentions. Even when the referee doesn't understand what you're saying, the intent is what matters.
No, we're still talking about the players using verbal abuse. But I still maintain I could be smiling and
but there is no way you will be smiling when you think you've been wrongly judged. So you will show it on your face that you are
those guys meant
you are not pleased. Having said that, I saw the game and I think the game turned on 3 key decisions: the goal that was disallowed, our own goal, and the save by Eman and the dying minute. Any of those decisions could have gone either way, and the completion of the game would have changed.
But the Bosnians were particularly critical of the referee's decision to allow Emmanuel Emenike to continue running riot through their defense, because he was particularly physical and they couldn't cope with that. So was it I'm just looking at the referee's point of view now. Were any of those calls questionable?
No.
None for me.
No. Especially the action that led
especially the one
the assistant referee on this side
it
was in an advantage position to see, and he saw that there was no foul whatsoever, and the call was 100%.
What happened was that the Iranian defender, that's the captain, he tried to impede Emenike's movement. Immediately the ball was placed beyond him, he wanted to block. And I mean, what do you expect? The player had to wriggle out of. So what he did was not foul. If a foul was going to be called, it was going to be called.
Gentlemen just saying this.
No, I'm not saying. I'm a Nigerian yet. I said the team didn't perform to my expectation. Okay, so I'm telling you the fact. If a foul had occurred, if Emenike couldn't make that ball eventually, it would have been a foul against Bosnia and not nice. So there was no foul. The referee actually played advantage when Emenike eventually survived that barricade that the defender tried to put in place.
But so, gentlemen, let's look at the performance of the team as a whole. I'm sure you have your own ratings regarding how well the team performed. Also looking at the fact that they are African champions. Also looking at the fact that they have been to the World Cup before, so they are not exactly debutants. How would you rate this team over 100 and give us reasons why you would rate this team? Why?
because they won,
Mm.
I'm going to go 60%.
60%.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's so obvious anyway from my own point of view, because the team, they've not played to expectation, although the performance was better than what we saw against Iran.
Okay.
But there were still some loopholes that a better team on a good day would have exploited, and we would have been trailing.
Please name those loopholes.
Okay, in the middle of the park, you expected more from the
two central
midfielders, Onazi, and you saw time and again the two of them giving possession away in dangerous places. And for me, that could be very, very dangerous. So I think those are positions that we need to take a very good look at.
Central midfield.
Central midfield.
Defensive midfield.
Defensively now, you look at, there were a couple of times that you saw Osaze coming back to defend, coming back to pick the ball. That was a failure of the central midfielders one. Then two, because they are unlike him, the guy who played from our right fullback position,
Yes,
Efe Ambrose, was not giving outlets. He was supposed to be an outlet for all our moves on the right flank, but he wasn't doing that. So Osaze needed to fall back deeper than was actually called for to make some of those interventions that are very, very critical.
Maybe because Nigeria's back was at the wall, was against the wall at a particular point in time. Maybe an extra body was needed, as I said, on the way his presence at the back. But that's left for Keshi and his team to decide. But let's come to you, Kazim. How would you rate this team over 100? The performance.
I'm sorry, I'm going to be meaner. I feel it's even generous to give them 50% based on the Super Eagles we watched in the past. I mean, until they play the way they played against Cote d'Ivoire at the Nations Cup,
Aren't you being overtly critical?
Now, why did I say this? I look at that team and I see a lot of defects. Okay, one, marking off the ball, especially when we're defending, that thing is almost useless. You don't see anybody pick out any opponent. That is why our midfield has been so porous. And like I said, after the Iran game, the game against Iran, I said if I were Keshi, I would drop Mikel. Okay, because Mikel was part of the success story of the Nations Cup. He was part of the reasons why we won the Nations Cup, because he was releasing good ball to the front guys. At this World Cup, like, he's gone back to his old Mikel. Anytime ball comes to Mikel, it is stands still. He kills the momentum, and you don't do that at this level. That's why we couldn't break down Iran, because immediately ball came to Mikel, he would slow it down such that the Iranians would have regrouped. And once they regroup, there's no way you could break them down. So Mikel for me is an issue. And the orientation of the boys, that is especially off the ball, is a big problem. Then final third. What do we do in the final third? It's a big problem too. You don't get people, we don't have people in the 18-yard box. I mean, the goal we scored, if Osaze did not have the intelligence and the energy to be there.
But that is what is expected to do as a
But how many times did we do it? I will call your attention to two other occasions where Emenike
was isolated.
Yes, he had the ball in the Bosnians box, or looking for somebody to pass to, but there was nobody. Why? Because that team was tired. I mean, there is big question about their fitness, because after 20 minutes we were not going forward again, and that probably explains why Osaze had to go back to a defensive, because there was nobody up front except Emenike. That one was just running all alone. Hey, you can't do that against any solid team at the World Cup. You will be found out badly and you will be punished brutally.
And you can't even do that for 6 consecutive games, can you? Well, let's come to some of the key actors on the day. I know everyone, especially the sponsors of the World Cup, picked out Osaze Odemwege as their man of the match. But I'm sure you gentlemen would probably want to agree, or you have probably differing positions regarding that particular award.
Yeah, I do. I do have a very, very different opinion about it. And for me, there are 3 players that I will pick ahead of Osaze.
Ahead of Osaze
Odemwege. Okay. First and foremost, I would think Omeru had a very, very outstanding game, because contrary to what we had expected from the Bosnian forward line, from Zerko, and when Ibisevic also came on.
Let me just put that in perspective. Omeru had 100% tackle rate. Yeah. He won 2 out of 3 headers, aerial duels that he went for, and he also had 3 interventions as well. So some of the analysts from other media too have chosen him to be probably the start. Yeah,
definitely. And you know one thing about players of his caliber, you don't actually get to see what they do until they are not there. That is when you know the
Because
importance
of where they play.
because of where they play. You know, every eye is focused on who
On
is
the striker,
on the striker.
and the goalkeeper.
And the goalkeeper. You don't get to see people like Omero until they make either a fatal mistake or they're not there at all. Or they score. That's when you get to know, this guy used to be whatever we wanted him to be. One. Then two, I'm going to pick Emenike because of his energy, the raw power. He was almost unplayable for the Bosnians. And even though they were crying blue mother, we knew he was still within the ambits of the law when he was playing them. So I have no choice in picking him. Then thirdly, I will pick Enyama in goal. Hey, what do you think Nigeria would have done? Where would we have been without Vincent?
Interesting question.
Yeah.
For me, Emenike is number one. At least he's the only player by Enyama who demonstrated raw energy for 90 minutes.
Okay.
And unlike his peers who disappeared after 20 minutes, this guy kept. If we had two Emenikes in that team against Bosnia, maybe Nigeria would have run with a cricket score because yes, somebody would be running them ragged and finish laying down for the other guy to finish. Then as I say, yes, for his discipline, coming back to join the defense when things were tough for Eagles. I'm not singling out for the goal. Yes, he was intelligent to be there, and that's his job. We all know what he did with Stoke. Second half of the season, fantastic player. And that is why I personally canvassed that he should be forgiven and be taken to the World Cup on his current form. He has justified that. And Enyama, yes, Vincent Enyama will be my second player behind Emenike. He's been there for us. Even against Iran, we could have lost that match, but for this, that is him. And Enyama, to some people who might not know, he has kept 6 World Cup matches, keeping 3 clean sheets. That's 50%. He shared that clean sheet number with Peter Rufai, who has kept 8, but only 3 clean sheets. So if he keeps a clean sheet against Argentina, he would have broken that record. And he has become the first Nigerian goalkeeper to keep 2 successful clean sheets in the World Cup. So the record keeps tumbling for him, which is very, very good. And Omero, yes, Omero will be my third choice.
You mentioned 4 now, actually.
No, I said Emenike.
Yeah.
Enyama. Okay. After Emenike will be Enyama. Okay. I only say I praise Osaze for his discipline and the way he finished. But talking about the people now, Emenike, Enyama, and then Omero. That young boy has shown that if Mourinho is running his right camp, that he should be playing for Chelsea next season.
Well, anyway,
before you leave, on the lighter side, I heard this joke on the net after the game. They said after Jesus.
No, it sounds funny, but that is the truth.
That is the truth. That being too expressive, but but it's instructive that none of you gentlemen, neither of you mentioned a certain Michael Babatunde. Is it that despite everything that all the criticism that showed his addition to this team, he still didn't today for years.
Today, for me, Babatunde played above expectation. Okay, yes, but what was the expectation? We didn't expect anything from him in the first place. He started in well. My problem with him, my concern is his decision making in the final third. He will do all the hard work just like Ahmed Musa. When he gets to the final third, he just loses it. And that is where, if he works on that, he could as well become Africa's Lionel Messi. We're talking about JJ Okocha. That boy has the potential to be our JJ Okocha. No. But I'm telling you, he needs to address that part of his game, his decision making in the final third.
Okay, Kadi.
Incidentally, his nickname is Messi. Even before this World Cup.
Yes,
I think Babatunde played out of his skin, but for me, there's this rawness, this raw power that doesn't
finished product.
That the end product is not just satisfying. It leaves the sour taste in the mouth when you consider the build up to most of his games, and then the finishing is just not there. Apart from, I think, the shot on target that he had, every other thing was just in the middle of the park, and he did well. We are not taking anything away from him.
If Eagles had more men in the box, a couple of times that the Bosnian goalkeeper Begovic was punching the ball, you would have found people just to jab in, and that's why I say yes, scoreline 1-0. If we had played the way we were expected to play as African champions, it could have been 5-6 against Bosnia.
Okay, gentlemen, finally on this particular issue, Nigeria play Argentina in their final group game on Wednesday. Now, Keshi is in a dilemma. Even Alejandro Sabella, coach of Argentina, is also in a dilemma. They have 6 points from 2 wins their first 2 games. But if they lose against Nigeria, they have
Nigeria goes top.
And they might be forced to face one of the form teams of the competition, France.
Yeah.
So he cannot have. Does he now rest his first team and play second team and hope that they get the job done against Nigeria, or does he go out and hope he can get a win and qualify with 9 points? That is for Sabella. But for Keshi, he also is in a quandary as well. If he guns for a win against Argentina, he tops the group and avoids France and plays the second weakest team in that group. But if he loses and Iran somehow manages to string up a 2-0 win over Bosnia, Nigeria might be out. Yeah. And there's also the possibility that results might conspire to see Nigeria and Iran end up with the same number of points, same goals difference, same everything.
So it goes
down to lottery. So what does Keshi do?
Well, I would like Keshi to learn from Liverpool's experience last season. Again, I'm talking about the game against Chelsea.
The season-defining game against Chelsea.
Chelsea came to Anfield not to lose. They didn't come to win. And Liverpool could have done with a draw. So, as Chelsea were wasting time doing everything outside even the logbook to achieve their draw, Liverpool should just have helped them by playing along. Rather, Liverpool played to type, attack, and what happened? Yeah. So, Keshi, against Argentina, 1 point will do it. I don't care whether we play against France, Switzerland, or whatever.
But what if Iran beats Bosnia 3-0?
It doesn't matter. Once we secure a draw against Argentina, Nigeria goes to 5 points, Iran will end at 4 points. That's the maximum they can attain. So 1 point will do it for Nigeria. So I will not expect Keshi to say he wants to go gung-ho against Argentina. Remember, this is a country we have not defeated in the anytime we made that the Senior World Cup. 3 times they beat us 3 times. 2-1, 1-0, 1-0, always close. And this might also be very, very close. Argentina have not been playing to their best. Bet is not a license for you to have a go at them. Argentina will be happy to go home with a point because a point sees them finishing top of the group, which is what they want. And that is why, for me, Sabella, if I were in his shoes, I wouldn't want to risk my key players ahead of the knockout stages. If your second team, not necessarily a whole second team, if they can achieve the draw, why not? So I'm looking at that game. If the 2 teams think the way I think it's going to be one of the most boring games of this, because the 2 teams could easily do with a draw and both will be happy.
Let me put it this way. Keshi has a chance. This team has already overachieved. The last 2 World Cups, they didn't win a single game. We've won 1 now.
We have 4 points, which is twice the last 2 World Cups put together.
So, this team has overachieved. But there's also an Argentine team that has beaten us as 3 previous World Cups, and who a lot of people have said that are there for the taking. Keshi already is a legend. His legend continues to be enhanced. Is this where he tries to enhance that legend even further by becoming the first man to take the scalp of African? No, sorry, he's not the first African.
Cameroon
did it, but it wasn't an African coach who did it. But will he become the first? Can he become the first African to take Argentina's cup at the World Cup?
Funny enough, I see France 98 written all over again for Nigeria. We are busy thinking about whether we play France or whoever comes second in the other group, forgetting that we need to first qualify from this group.
So how do we qualify? Do we go ahead and?
He has analyzed it brilliantly. We need to just sit down, let them come at us, get a draw, and get out of the group.
You gentlemen are not being fair. If I paid match tickets, I bought a hotel. I also paid for travel from somewhere, and I come all the way just to see 2 teams play.
What is guaranteed? What is guaranteed is that you're going to watch a 90 minutes game. Nobody's told you you're going to see goals. Nobody said you're going to see goals.
Okay. You see today it gets to a point in a competition like this
where you have to be pragmatic.
That's it.
You are not going to play like that for the whole 7 matches. But now we have reached the crunch. You are seeing qualification, which is a big achievement for me because the last 2 World Cups we finished even bottom of our group. So 1 point we are there. It doesn't matter who will play in the second round. Imagine if France comes second in their group, what happens? We know they are going to come first, but it doesn't really matter. To be honest with you, go for that 1 point. This is not saying you are just going to sit back fully, but there is a way you play it. I mean, Mourinho has shown it over time. Coaches before him have shown it over time. Learn to, if you need to sleep, once they kick you, there is a whistle, waste time.
And you are the same person who will come here and start talking about
Today,
football.
because
both
excuse
of
me,
you.
we are going to play anti-football to achieve this 1 point, because one, we've never won a single point against Argentina, and we know 1 point we just confirm our qualification. It's so close. We shouldn't lose it now. If just for this match alone. After that, you can now go against anybody in the knockout and get knocked out.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone. That has been the opinions of Kayode Ogundare and Kazeem Ilegbede. What do you think? Should we go ahead and attack Argentina all out and possibly try and win the group? Do you think we should play anti-football, park the bus, keep falling on the pitch,
rely on counter,
rely on counter for 19 minutes, as long as we get the result that we want? What have you thought of the performance of the Super Eagles so far, especially in the second game against Bosnia and Herzegovina? Were you pleased? Would you rate them over 100% over 100%? Or what are your own ratings? Please just join in the debate below. Send in your comments and don't forget to subscribe. This has been Big League Soccer. Join us for a fresh episode later on.